I was the overnight resident the night Marcus Hale stopped breathing, and I almost let protocol kill him. I say that plainly because I've had 4 years to sit with it. I was 28, 2 years out of med school, holding down the pediatric floor of Carver County Medical while the senior staff slept. I thought I was running a tight ship, every patient triaged and logged, and I thought the night shift nurse assigned to beds 7 through 14 was just a placeholder, a per diem hire, unfamiliar face, quiet, in the way some nurses are quiet because they have nothing to say. I was wrong about all of it. Her name was Claire Reyes. She moved through that floor like someone who had worked in far worse places and found a county hospital almost restful by comparison. She didn't talk much, didn't push back, didn't make a scene when I told her at 11 o'clock that the boy in bed 9, Marcus, 7 years old, post-op day 2 from an appendectomy, was stable and didn't need a manual check. His telemetry looks fine, I told her. Let the monitor do its job. She looked at me for one quiet second. Then she nodded and went back to her cart. I went back to the call room. At 2:47 in the morning, she knocked on my door. Not a knock that said panic. A knock that said, you need to move now, and you need to trust me. I came out pulling on my coat. She was already moving down the hall. Bed 9, she said. He's going into respiratory distress. His SAT is dropping. I need you to call the rapid response team, and I need you to step back and let me work. I looked at the monitor reading over the doorframe. 91% and falling, that same boy I had written off as stable. I called the team. And then, because something in the way she moved stopped every argument in my throat, I stepped back. What I saw in the next 11 minutes, I have never fully described to anyone, because I'm not sure I have the language for it. She assessed him in under 30 seconds, hands on his chest, eyes on his color, 2 fingers at his throat, and she was already diagnosing before I processed what I was seeing. She talked to him the whole time, low and even, the way you talk to someone in a bad place when you need them to hold on. She called for a specific setup I had never heard ordered on a pediatric floor, got it in 90 seconds from the charge nurse who had been watching and trusted her immediately. Her hands never shook. Her voice never rose. By the time the rapid response team pushed through the door, Marcus Hale was breathing. Not just breathing, stable. His numbers climbing back through the 90s like a soldier taking ground. The team lead looked at me. I pointed at her. He looked at her. She gave him a quiet briefing, 4 sentences, clinical and exact, and then she stepped to the side and let him take over. No grandstanding. No moment claimed. She moved back to her cart as if she had done nothing more than change a bandage. I stood in the hallway and didn't move for a long time. The administrator arrived at 5:55 in the morning. His name was Terrence Brody, and he ran Carver County Medical with the particular confidence of a man who had never once been wrong in his own estimation. He had a board meeting at 7, and he had come in early to review the overnight log, and what he found was a per diem nurse's name attached to an unscheduled intervention in a pediatric bay during a non-emergency admission. He came to find her at 6:15. I saw it happen from the nursing station. He had the patient services coordinator with him, which was how he announced seriousness. He told Claire Reyes that she had exceeded her assignment, violated patient management protocol, and created a liability exposure that the hospital was not going to absorb. He told her that her per diem contract was terminated, effective immediately. He held out his hand for her badge. She unclipped it from her lanyard. She held it for just a moment, not hesitating, not performing, just holding it the way you hold something you've earned. Then she set it in his hand. He handed her a cardboard box for her personal items. The coordinator watched. I watched. I didn't say a word. I have thought about that silence every day since. She packed the box in 3 minutes. 1 photograph. A small notebook. A folded piece of paper at the bottom that I didn't notice until later. She picked the box up with both hands, tucked it against her chest, and walked toward the elevator without looking back at Brody. Not angry, not broken, just done with him. I followed her. I don't know why. Some part of me that wasn't proud of what I had just stood by and watched. I came around the corner toward the lobby at 6:22, just as the front doors opened. A man in army dress uniform walked in. Behind him, a younger officer in service greens. The man in dress uniform was a brigadier general. I didn't know his name then. I know it now, but I won't put it here because that isn't the point. What I can tell you is what he looked like. Tall, composed, with the kind of face that has been in weather and come through it unchanged. He wore his ribbons like weight, the real kind, not the decorative kind. He walked with a measured step and he was scanning the lobby the way a man scans a room when he is looking for someone specific. He found her at the elevator. He stopped. For a moment, maybe 2 full seconds, neither of them moved. Then he crossed the lobby floor. "Sergeant Reyes," he said. She turned. looked at him. Something moved through her face that I can only describe as recognition meeting a thing you thought you had put away. General, she said. He looked at the box in her arms. He looked at the badge no longer on her lanyard. Then he looked, slowly, over her shoulder at Terrence Brody, who had followed us to make sure the walkout was completed. Is there something I should know about? The general said. He was not asking me. Brody made the mistake of explaining. He used words like liability and protocol and per-diem assignment. He said it calmly, the way a man talks when he believes he is in the right. He did not finish the sentence. The general reached into his jacket pocket and produced a folded document. He opened it and handed it to Brody without a word. Brody read it. Whatever color had been in his face at 6:15 was gone by the time he reached the bottom. What the document said, I read it later, when the general handed it to the chief of medicine, was this. Staff Sergeant Claire A. Reyes, United States Army, had served 3 combat deployments as a dustoff flight medic, the Army's air evacuation rescue crews, the ones who fly into active fire to pull the wounded out. In those 3 deployments, she had been the primary medical responder on 41 medevac missions. She had received a Purple Heart following an incident in which her aircraft was struck and went down in a mountain valley, and she had continued treating her patients. 4 critically wounded soldiers, while the aircraft burned, until the second bird arrived. She had carried those men out on foot. All 4 survived. The document in Brody's hands was a letter of commendation from the Department of the Army. The general had brought it because Marcus Hale was his grandson. He had been at the hospital all night, in the family waiting area 2 floors up. He had come down when the floor nurse told the family that Marcus was stable, and a nurse's intervention had been the reason. He had come to find that nurse. When the receptionist told him she had just been walked out, he had moved. Brody held the document for a long time without speaking. Then he looked at the badge in his other hand, the one he had taken from her 20 minutes ago. He set it down on the lobby desk. He did not look up. The general turned to Claire Reyes. He looked at the box she was still holding, both hands steady, the same way she had stood at the elevator. I'd like to return something to you, he said. He reached into the box, carefully, and lifted out the folded piece of paper from the bottom. He unfolded it. It was her original service citation, the one she had carried from her discharge, worn along the creases. He folded it once and slipped it back. Then he put the badge on top of it. He didn't order her back to work. He didn't make a speech. He simply stood between her and the door and made the geometry of the moment clear to everyone in that lobby. Brody reached for the badge first. I've thought about why he did that, whether it was genuine or just the fastest way out of the room. Either way, he picked it up. He held it out to her. His hand wasn't steady. She took it, clipped it back to her lanyard with one hand, picked up the box with the other. She glanced at me once on the way back to the elevator, not triumphant, not forgiving, just acknowledging that I was there, that I had seen it, and that some lessons only come at 400 feet above a burning valley in the dark. I've been a better doctor since that morning. I'm not sure I deserve the one she gave me for free.